The returning members of the Justice League helped turn the tide of the battle, while John Kent earned the respect of everyone with a selfless act of bravery. And in his selflessness, it gave our heroes the time they needed to defeat Pariah. In Pariah's defeat, the superheroes thought the worst was over, but it was only the start. The darkness remained and attached itself to another. Deathstroke, being fueled by the might of whatever piece of the great darkness Pariah was able to tap into, has waged war on anyone stepping up where the Justice League left off. Standing in front of everyone with Dick Grayson in his hands, Deathstroke vows to finish what he started. Can the battle be won? Can the infinite Earths be stabilized, or will they destroy the multiverse? Where is Oliver Queen? This is Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, Chapter 7, Dawn of the DCU.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Labs Comic Fan. I'm Steve, and today we're talking Dark Crisis number 7. So I'd like to thank all the new subscribers to the channel. I really appreciate it. We're growing slow but steady, and I appreciate that, man. That's really, really cool to me. But if you're watching and you're not subscribed, then you could click that subscribe button. That would be awesome. And for everybody else, put your thumbs in the upright position. So here we are at the end of it. Dark Crisis! Will it live up to expectation? Did anybody even have any expectations? The Justice League and the Infinite Earths have returned, but at what cost? What will be the repercussions of this, and where does the DCU go from here? So I'm sorry this video took a little bit longer to get out, man. I was working on it, and then my son had to go to the hospital. He has laryngitis. It was just a mess. But it's New Year's, so Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody, and whatever other holidays you celebrate, Happy Holidays. Let's just get right into Dark Crisis, guys, because this one's big, and it's gonna take a while. So there is an epilogue at the end of this comic, guys. I'm not going to talk about it, but stay tuned. It will play after the credits, so make sure you guys stay till after I leave the desk. I'm just going to let it play on its own, and you guys can make your own theories or discussion from there. Leave some comments, and we'll talk about it that way.
Alone in the dark, Nightwing doesn't know where he is, but he hears an all too familiar voice. You said it yourself, Richard. The darkness never really goes away. You can light some pretty little candles and make all the hopeful speeches you want, but in the end, the darkness always prevails. It's all we are left with. Deathstroke continues to fight on the outside, but on the inside, he's facing down his biggest adversary. Pariah was certifiable. He thought he was talking to some great darkness when it was just the voices in his head, and he bit the dust. But the darkness he created lives on, and it's got to you too, pulling you backward, stripping you of all you've become. But unlike Pariah, you're not alone. You ready for round 2? Slade faces down a younger Nightwing in his old Robin suit. Deathstroke says it was always supposed to come down to them. Even with the Justice League making a comeback, it's like the rest of their lives. All pointless, because even if I die, the darkness will find a new home. Nothing can stop it. Dick wants to know how much of this is Pariah's control. This isn't like Slade at all. Slade said at first it was Pariah, but he made a great argument. This world needs to die. I've seen this world hurt my children too many times. Dick isn't buying it. Your children? You could have just been there. You could have been a father. An attacking Slade screams he was there. He was the one that brought the hurt to their lives, and he's sick of trying to be something he's not. This is so much bigger than us, Slade. You're right. That's why I'm shutting it down. No more hurt for anyone. This mercy killing will be my legacy. Mr. Terrific, Batgirl, John Kent, and Black Adam are assessing the situation, and Batgirl thinks they need to attack this problem on all fronts. Take Slade and the Dark Army down while another team restores order to the multiverse. Next to them, a rift opens and Damian Wayne comes out with his team and the Justice League incarnate. Damian tells them they know a way to reverse the darkness's effects. Dr. Light absorbed the light that created the multiverse. She thinks she can use it to illuminate the darkness. Mr. Terrific tells them they already had someone on that. The Flashes are using their combined speed to repair connections between the multiverse and the Infinite Earths. They'll need a miracle to stabilize them, though. Dr. Light is going to join the Flashes, but they still need a way to stop Slade. Anyone who gets close runs the risk of being taken over by the darkness. Black Adam flies in recklessly to land a massive blow to Deathstroke. He feels as if he's been blind to everything around him for far too long. He dismissed the young heroes, but they still saved him. He has the power to make things right. He stares Slade right in the face and says his name, Black Adam. Lightning crashes around all the heroes, and they are filled with the power of Black Adam, standing united to take down Deathstroke and the Dark Army. But the darkness has left Deathstroke. He's back to normal. He asks Adam how he did this. Adam says he shared his powers with them, a gift, and the darkness cannot touch them. Slade says he thought Adam was a dangerous man, but he's just a weak and powerless old fool. You freed me of Pariah's darkness, but it's already found a new home.
So Nightwing's alone in the darkness, that's what I'm assuming, and he hears a voice. He kind of doesn't know where he is, but he hears a voice, and it's Slade. And Slade is kind of telling him that the darkness is all we have. It's all that's going to prevail. It never goes away. You can make all these pretty little speeches, light all these candles, but this is it. Talks about Pariah and how he was certifiable, and that he was talking in his head. It was never the great darkness that he was talking to. He was just insane, and that led him to bite the dust. But the darkness he did create, it lives on, and it's got you too. He tells Dick that it's stripping him down, taking away all that he is. But unlike Pariah, Dick isn't alone. He says, "You ready for round 2?" So it's weird. In this darkness, Nightwing standing there, but then he's looking like the younger Robin. And Slade's talking to him. Said it was always supposed to come down to us. Even with the Justice League on the outside making a comeback, it's pointless. It's like their lives. It's pointless. Because even if Slade dies, the darkness is going to find a new host. Nothing can stop it. Dick wants to know how much of this is Pariah and how much of this is Slade, because it's not like Slade. And Deathstroke's pretty much like, at first it was Pariah, but he made a great argument. He made a great point. This world needs to die. And he says, I've seen it hurt my children so much. It was such a, even reading it, I'm just like, what? So your argument is you've seen the world hurt so much, so instead of making it better, you're just going to destroy it and make it worse because you're just such a puss. That doesn't sound like Deathstroke to me, to be honest. I mean, the killing part, of course, but this whole emotional spectrum Deathstroke is a little bit BS. And Dick isn't buying it either. He's like, what? Your children? You could have just been there. You could have just been a father. And this is one of the lines that I did not like in the comic. Deathstroke says, I was the one that made all the hurt for them. I just am sick and tired of being something that I'm not. It's like, so you've seen the world hurt your kids, but you're the one that did it, right? And you're just sick and tired of being something that you're not, but you're sick of the world hurting your kids. But you were the one doing it, and now you're still doing it. But your point was you were sick of it happening to them. What? Nightwing tries to tell him, look, dude, this is bigger than all of us. And Slade says he knows, and that's why he's shutting it down. This mercy killing will be his legacy. And it's all about legacy in this. It's all about legacy. You see John Kent picking up where his father left off. You see Nightwing trying to take control of everything and doing what Batman did, except he kind of pussed out for a little while after the whole Gar situation. But he did bring it back and led everybody to the front lines. There's two characters that I'm going to get into that I thought really grew in this comic, and we will talk about that for a little bit later. So Terrific, Batgirl, John Kent, and Black Adam are trying to get together a plan, and Batgirl says, we got to attack this on all fronts. They need to take Slade and the Dark Army down while someone else fixes the multiverse or checks on it, tries to figure out what they can do with it. But before they can even stop talking, a rift opens up, and Damian Wayne comes out. And if you remember from Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Dark Army tie-in, he was in there trying to figure out how to get the dark chains off of the Dark Army. Well, Dr. Light absorbed some of the light that created the multiverse, and she feels that she can use that and negate the darkness. She says she can illuminate the darkness, and Mr. Terrific's like, well, we kind of already have somebody on that. She's, who? And you see Hal Jordan just going by. So the Flashes are trying to fix the connections with the Infinite Earths in the multiverse, and it seems like it's a lot of Flash speak. If I could run so fast, I can get this stuff fixed. All right, Flash. I love Flash, don't get me wrong. I love Flash. I love the Mark Waid run and the Jeff Johns run. I love it. But they seem to use him as like the Deus Ex Machina that comes in and just can do all of these things and fix it. And it's always, I don't know, we've never been able to do this before, but now we're going to be able to do it. And you're just like, God damn it. You knew this was going to be it. You knew something was going to happen with the Infinite Earths because they were so, the Flash in the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, you know, he got disintegrated or whatever happened there because he turned into bones and just, and in this comic, he's like, you know, ever since the Infinite Earths were destroyed, we couldn't fix it. It's been bothering me, but we won't let it happen. And that's a Flash fact. Oh my God. I mean, it's cool paying homage to some things, but I have the original, like, 200 issues of The Flash from when it started, and we don't need any more Flash facts, please. So Dr. Light is going to join the Flashes, but they still need a way to stop Slade. And they don't know how to because anyone who gets close to him runs the risk of getting taken over by the Great Darkness. And that's when Black Adam just flies right past them, and he's just like, nope, this is my time. This is it. And this is one of the characters, along with John Kent, who I thought did the most growing, at least in the comic, most character development. So he goes one-on-one with Slade. And if you remember Black Adam from the beginning, yelling at them, and the young heroes telling him they're not worth anything, he feels he's been blinded to the situation for a long time. It wasn't necessarily that they weren't capable of doing this. It was just the hubris that he had that, I'm so far above you. And even when he betrayed them, the young heroes, they saved him. They did. They took him back in. They were like, you know, they saw more in him. They were actually looking for a leader, and they were going to have him as a leader, but they were just like, this isn't working. But they still took him in after that. And in the Death of the Justice League comic, there was a panel that Darkseid told Black Adam he would be the key to defeating the army, something along those lines. And he's talking about that in his head, and he has the power to make this right. And he gets right up in Slade's face and yells, Black Adam. Lightning crashes all around the heroes, and the next thing we see is great, man. It's all the heroes that are on the battlefield, and they are all imbued with the power of Black Adam. And they are ready to kick the shit out of Slade. And with doing this, Black Adam was actually able to take the darkness out of Slade. So Slade's on the ground, and he's like, how did you do this? Like, what the hell's going on? And he tells him that this was a gift to all of them. This is my power. This is what I'm going to do. This is how we defeat you. Slade's still playing his game. He's like, I thought you were a dangerous man. Now I see you're just an old, powerless fool. You may have freed me from Pariah's darkness, but it's already found a new home. We get some really cool stuff over the next few pages. Deathstroke is musing to Adam. The darkness takes a hold of Nightwing, dragging him deeper and deeper, and soon he'll be just like Slade. It's too late, Adam. Soon everything will be swallowed by the darkness. And Dick's just sitting there with the chains coming out of him, and Deathstroke's like, you think this boy has the power to stop what everybody else couldn't? At least I can put my daughter out of her misery. Adam's heard enough, and he charges Slade. We cut to the Flashes, and they cannot fix the multiverse and the Infinite Earths. Every connection that they fix, the darkness takes over and seals up what they've done. Dr. Light appears to the Flashes and says, join my light with your speed. Pariah saw what the Monitor gave him as a curse. She sees it as a blessing. Pariah and the others failed to save the Infinite Earths because they tried to control them. They wanted perfection, but the Infinite Earths, they need to be free. To be infinite! The Infinite Earths and the multiverse become stable, and the Dark Army goes back to where they came from. Have the heroes won? I don't think it's over quite that easily. Dick is alone in the darkness and thinks of what Bruce would do if he were in his position. He wouldn't fight the darkness. He would let it in and take it on himself. Black Adam and Deathstroke are locked in a battle to the end, Deathstroke pointing out all the fallacies in Adam, stating that these young heroes aren't worth it. But now you would fight alongside them? You would protect them? Black Adam says he would die with them. Slade says that this is touching. The multiverse gets to live another day, but we must stop the children from following in our footsteps. Black Adam holds his ground between Slade and his daughter. Move, Adam. Never. Nightwing is aware of what is happening. Slade will never get it.
We are not following in anyone's footsteps. All of us work together, the older generation and the new, to bring everyone hope. That is our legacy. Seemingly having taken control of the darkness, Nightwing whips Deathstroke with the chains that controlled the Dark Army. Slade is down and angry. Can't they see why he did all of this? He doesn't want what happened to his children to happen to their children. If he's going to die this day, then Legacy will die with him. Charging at Adam and Nightwing, Deathstroke is intercepted by his daughter Rose. She tells him he's done and he needs help. He just didn't want her to turn out like him. Surrounded by many of the heroes, Deathstroke falls to his knees, defeated and broken. The darkness passes and the red skies leave. Sun shines for the first time in a while. It never looked so bright. Families are reunited, society's heroes return, the young celebrate. Dr. Light explores her connection with the multiverse, but some feel her new powers may be too much for one person to handle. The Justice League Incarnate keep a watchful eye on the multiverse. The Quintessence has returned, and Jim Corrigan is bonded back to the Spectre. Darkseid seems to have returned to Apocalypse, and the villains have escaped after the fight, and are no doubt plotting their next moves. But not everyone is happy. Oliver Queen is lost. As for Deathstroke, Slade's body was ravaged when the darkness left him, and it stripped him of the serum that gave him his powers. He is in constant pain. The machines hold it off as best they can, but he will remain there until they figure out what to do with him.
So Dick is alone in the darkness, and he's trying to think of what Bruce would have done. He would not have fought the darkness. He would have let it in and taken it on himself. And Black Adam is making his stand against Deathstroke. Deathstroke is hurling all this stuff at him, but it comes down to Black Adam getting in between Deathstroke and his daughter. And he's telling him, move, Adam. Nope, never. He goes in to take Adam out, and that's when Dick comes out of his funk from the darkness. The chains come out, and he just starts whipping Slade with him. And it seems that Nightwing has taken control of the darkness and conquered it. And Nightwing makes some cool statements. He's like, Slade will never get this, like what we're all about. He thinks that we're just riding the coattails of the older generation, but it's not like that. We don't stand alone. We stand together, new and old generation. This is what gives us hope. This will be our legacy. Of course, it's legacy again, and you're just like, okay. All right. Deathstroke's angry. He doesn't understand why they can't see what he was trying to do. He doesn't want what happened to his kids to happen to the rest of the people's kids down the line. And finally, Deathstroke goes for it all. He charges Adam and Nightwing, but he's stopped by Rose, his daughter. And she's like, no, you're done. That's it. You need help. And that's how they stop Slade. And I was just like, I knew they weren't going to kill him, obviously, but come on, man. Come on. This is it. This is the end of the giant multiversal threat and bringing back the infinite Earths. So basically, this was just a big thing to bring back the infinite Earths. It's like they get rid of them in Crisis on Infinite Earths. They bring it back. They bring the 52 back in Infinite Crisis. They realize in Final Crisis that they remember the Earth. Like, it's just, God damn it. Man. This was so disappointing to me, and it was just very disappointing to me. I don't know what I was expecting. I probably wasn't expecting anything, but this just stop, Dad. You mean the person I wanted to kill is the one who stops me? Like, that's not really quick thinking on your part, Deathstroke. You could have just ran, chopped her head off and kept running, because that's what you wanted to kill her. But now it's over. It's done. Slade falls to his knees. He's done. He's broken. And the red skies disappear. The darkness is gone. And the sun starts to shine. And everything is happy in the DC universe. Families are reunited. The Justice Society is back. The Teen Titans are celebrating. Dr. Light's going to go out into the multiverse and try out her new powers. But some people feel that power is a little bit too much for one person to handle. We get the Quintessences back, and the Spectre is joined back with his host. It's just like all these things are happening. Darkseid is standing with his arms behind his back in Apocalypse, and the Legion of Doom and the other villains are, they slipped out as soon as everybody was like, dude, they're not paying attention to us. Look at this. They're all standing there watching some little girl and her dad argue. See ya! And one of the things that you get from this, one of the bigger mysteries that you get, is Oliver Queen's gone. He made that speech when they were trying to go back to Earth 1, and he didn't make it. Where did he go? I really hope they have some good writing and some good stuff for Ollie coming up soon, because that could be a really interesting story. Dinah and Roy are probably going to go searching for him. I don't know how they're going to. They got to get some sort of multiversal traveler with them to do so, because how do you even start to look for him? So as for Deathstroke, his body was totally destroyed from the darkness. He's in this chamber where he's in constant pain, but the machines are keeping that pain as well controlled as they can. But so the darkness coming out of him, it stripped him of the serum that gave him his superpowers to begin with. And they're going to keep him there until they figure out what to do with him. I'm going to give my thoughts at the end of this comic, before the credits, before the epilogue, so stay tuned for that. So we're getting to the wrap-up portions of the event. Some of the heroes have congregated and they're talking about the darkness. Zatanna has found that it went back to where it's from. It's completely unconcerned with them, so that kind of lends her to think that Pariah's machine was only able to tap into a portion of its power. And they say it, and it was all in his head. And I did not like that, because it was very, very confusing. You see what he's doing to all of these characters, all of these superheroes, and just bam, 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 taking out the Justice League, taking over Darkseid. So this Great Darkness must be the most powerful thing in the DCU. It has to be. It has to be stronger than Perpetua, stronger than just everything. Everything. If it was only a fraction of its power and he was Psycho and he was able to take control of some of the heaviest hitters in the DCU, then this thing is bigger than Marvel's one above all and one below all. It's the one above the below all. It's ridiculous. I just did not like it. It was very confusing because they tried to say it was the Great Darkness. Then we find out from Swamp Thing that it wasn't, and it just kept going on and on. If they could have just said, hey, this dude's Psycho and he somehow tapped into this little bit of power, but that power is amplified a bazillion times when you're nuts, then that would have made sense. Not this nice little entity that really isn't concerned with human life, but it's so freaking strong that if it wanted to, it could just blanket your whole multiverse and omniverse and metaverse and hypertime and everything. I mean, it was just, I did not care for that. It just made things so confusing. Hot Girl brings up a good point. He's like, what do we tell people? And Barry Allen's like, well, we're not going to tell them anything. If they need something to blame, let them think it's the Great Darkness. Hal's going to stay on Earth for a while. He needs to be grounded after all this. He's been out there for some time. And Barry asks him, are you going to help Roy and Dinah look for Green Arrow? He says, hey, if they ask me, yeah, sure. Hal and Barry are looking at the young heroes around rebuilding Titan's Tower and rebuilding the Hall of Justice, and they've left things in good hands, but they reminisce about how they were them at one point. They were the young ones trying to prove themselves. These kids have proved themselves. They held it down while the big Justice League was off planet and they didn't know if they were dead or not. They stepped up, especially John Kent. That's my opinion. Hal tells Barry to take care of his family, and Barry comes back with, hey, Hal, when are you going to start one of your own families? Kids and all that stuff. Hal looks at him. He's like, what are you talking about, dude? Out of all the people here, my family's the biggest, and he's got all the Green Lantern Corps behind him. So that was kind of neat. John and Clark fly up to Adam to thank him. He proved his doubters wrong. Adam doesn't care if anyone doubted him. He's not one of them. He needs to return to Kahndaq, and if anyone gets in his way the next time they meet, there will be war. But your son, Kal-El, unlike you, he didn't die. As Black Adam flies away from them, John asks his dad if that was a compliment or not. It was, son. It was. Nightwing is kneeling in some rubble holding the remains of a candle. Batman swoops in, surprised to see that candle. It's the same one used when Nightwing took his vow as Robin all those years ago.
Dick tells Batman that when Black Adam said the Justice League were dead, he never believed it. He would have known. But the others were afraid of a world with no Justice League, so he made a speech so family and friends would know your legacy would live on. The candles made them feel safe, as it did for when you and your parents died, and for me when I took the vow those years ago. Batman snaps the tip of the candle and tells Dick he appreciates that he kept this candle, but when he put the cape and cowl on for the first time and was alone in Gotham against the darkness as it tried to drown him, the candle was never the light in the dark for him. It was you, Dick. The other heroes didn't need candles or speeches. They needed someone to unite them all. It's the same reason you were able to contain the spread of the darkness until the infinite Earths were restored and Pariah's darkness faded. Only you could have done that. I'm proud of you, son. We all are. We will rebuild the Hall of Justice, but it's time for a change. Dick asks, what about the League? That's just it. There is no Justice League. After all that's happened, we need time to rethink the League. It doesn't just need new members. It needs a new mission statement, a new legacy, and if anyone is going to lead us all into the future, it's going to be you, Dick. Nightwing looks at Bruce and feels that's a lot to handle, but before they can say anything, Oracle calls in. It's Two-Face. He's back. No rest for the wicked. Let's talk on the way, Bruce. I have some ideas.
John and Clark fly up to Black Adam, and they have this little conversation about Black Adam redeeming himself. Black Adam doesn't give a crap. And he lets him know, hey, I'm not one of you guys, and I'm going back to Kahndaq. And if I run into any of you guys in opposition of me again, it's going to be war. But, Kal-El, your son, unlike you, he didn't die. And I thought that was awesome. I thought that was great. Because those two characters meeting at the end, it needed to happen. He needed to recognize John Kent. And just everything that happened from the beginning of this book to the end with those two characters, I liked extremely. That's how you do character growth. That's how you build the respect in opposition. And I thought that was well done. And John's flying off with his dad. He's like, is that a compliment? And Clark's like, yes, it is. It is. Cut to Dick Grayson. He's in some rubble and he's got this candle. Batman swoops in. And I'm going to cut this short because it's just a bunch of reminiscing. That candle was used in the first ceremony where Robin took his oaths so many years ago. And Batman kind of brings up a good point near the end. He says, there's no more Justice League, because Dick asks him, what about the League? And he says, there is no more League. We have to rethink this. We have to rethink everything. The Justice League doesn't need just new members. It needs an entire new mission statement. Like, we need somebody to lead us into the future. And that's you, Dick. Everything you did here with, lighting the candle and making your speech, they didn't really need all that. What they needed was what you were doing. You were leading them. You were giving them hope. That is what we need now. Dick is just like, that's a little bit too much to handle here, Batman. But before they can even start talking about it, Oracle calls in. And Two-Face, the ever-opportunist, right after a massive crisis. You ever notice Two-Face is never a part of any of this stuff? He's just like, he's probably arguing with himself, like, should I go? Infinite crisis. Crisis on infinite Earths. Fuck it, who cares? Let's rob a bank. But he's attacking Gotham, and they gotta go. And Dick says, hey, let's just talk on the way. I have some ideas. And that was it, man. That was how they ended Dark Crisis. Now, remember, guys, there is an epilogue. It's going to play after the credits. But I'm only going to talk about the Dark Crisis proper. I'm going to first... The art in this was phenomenal. I'd give this art 4.5 or 5. I mean, it was so fantastic to look at. Every time there was a fight or every time there was something going on, it was amazing looking. The way that he drew the infinite Earths and the multiverse was great. Daniel Sampere, I don't know how to say it, but dude, you are amazing. Everything looked awesome. The story, on the other hand, while there were high points, there was a lot of low points. I could not stand the Gar storyline. It blew me out of the water with the reason why he's not waking up is because he thought he died. His friends let him down. He thought he died. It was just, I hated that. I hated that so much. And he doesn't even get like his vengeance. He doesn't even get his comeuppance. Like, he goes to beat down Slade, and then he just gets his ass kicked and comes back when Slade has his full power. He's like, I tried to stop him, but I couldn't. I turned into a tiger, and he just smacked me in the lips. It didn't work. I could not stand it. It just made Gar very throwawayable. And if you are a Beast Boy fan, I am not taking anything away from Beast Boy. I am taking away from how they wrote him. I actually like Beast Boy. I think he's a fun character. Shapeshifters are cool. You can do so much with them, and they just did nothing. They shot him in the head, and he survived. If that isn't cool enough, then they don't know what they're doing. He should have went out there and just wrecked people. Just turned into a massive animal and a bear and just start ripping people apart. It would have been great. Some of the cooler spots when Darkseid ripped Frankenstein in half, that was pretty cool. I didn't care for Pariah. Yes, they had to have Pariah have a source of energy. But instead of killing heroes, he just made them into planets. He just, here, you're a planet now. Let's see what kind of planet you make. Well, you know what he's gonna make. It's all based on them. It's gonna, if you put Beast Boy in a Beast Boy planet, it's gonna be Planet Beast Boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, I don't know. And it seemed like they were hearkening back to, hey, remember we wrote Crisis on Infinite Earths? Remember we published that? Remember that book? Yeah, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Remember it? Good, because, yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. Overall, I give this story a 2.5 out of 5. Some of the stuff was really cool. Really, really cool. But I know it's probably super hard to end these things. It's gotta be extremely hard. Especially when you're writing something to be built up, as this great thing. I mean, up to issue 6, they were just like, oh, there's still another giant threat of Deathstroke, but he's gonna be stopped in the name of love. And it's just, I don't know. Me as an older comic book fan from the 80s, not that that was better. I'm not saying it was better. Maybe it was, I was younger and I was more in awe of those things. Like, maybe I'm more jaded now, but I didn't think I would be because I was just getting back into this. And I know it's been a couple of years, but in comic book years for me, 4 years is nothing. I still am not up to date on continuity. I am glad that after you watch the epilogue, you will see what I mean, that I can jump in on some books now and I will see where they're going forward. But there was so much stuff I had to read going back. Infinite Frontier, all the stuff that all these things that they were doing, all the characters they were changing, all of that stuff. But there's just so many things I didn't care for in this. If you like this, that's perfectly fine. Write in the comments of why you liked it or why you didn't. But overall, as a whole series, like I said, I give the art a 4.5 to 5. And overall, I give the story a 2.5. But, hey, I'm glad that this video finally came out. I'm sorry it took so long, guys. I wanted this out a couple of days ago, but I couldn't. Stay tuned for the epilogue, please. And I would like to hear what you guys comment and see what you guys think is going to happen going forward. So next time on The Lapsed Comic Fan, you guys can write in the comments what you would like me to do. There's a whole bunch of things that I could do. I could continue with Gambit because by the time this comes out, issue 6 will be coming out. I can do 4 and 5 and we can be caught up. Or we could do something new. There's the Spider-Man Dark Web crossover event happening right now. We could do something like that. Let's try to do something Marvel because I have some DC stuff lined up in the future. So put in the comments what you would like me to review. If you have any recommendations, even if it's old Marvel, just Marvel stuff. I want to get more in tune with Marvel. I'm not nearly as versed with Marvel as I am with DC. All right, everybody. Have a good night and peace. Happy New Year. Deathstroke. Japan. Beast Boy, you suck.
Sometime later, time and space are a mess. The multiverse is getting bigger. But I don't care about that. I care about what happens to the people on our world. These battles between these so-called heroes and villains continue to escalate. Someone is standing before the Council of Light making a case against meta-powered humans. At first they wanted to work with them, but now there's no Justice League and the heroes are unorganized, and are only adding to the problem. If they refuse to follow our orders, they will be incarcerated. If we have the ability to imprison their enemies, we can do the same to them. No more will they make decisions that impact all of humanity. These heroes have defeated aliens and gods, and now with the resurrected members of the old Justice League, it seems they've defeated death. That's a step too far. The Council of Light have rejected your proposal. They will not be incarcerated. They believe the proposal is too narrow. These metahumans are too strong and dangerous to control. We must take steps we have never before. You have authority to eradicate every metahuman from our world. Finally. To be continued in 2023.